Understand, but your dad has done something very bad to my family. Now we demand a $1 million ransom for your release. Oh, I do understand. I hate my dad. Really? Yes, he always hired the prettiest nannies for me just so he could sleep with them behind my mom's back. Once I even caught them kissing in my bed. And last week he saw a wrinkle on my mom's face, so he screamed, "Get that fixed or I'll put you on the streets." Sometimes I wish he was just dead. The kidnapper took his mask off and said, "Huh, looks like we were in the same boat. I'm Chris, by the way." I liked him. He was handsome and friendly. And when it got cold, I asked, "Can you lay next to me and warm me?" Was it weird that I had feelings for him? I cuddled into him and slept like a baby. The next morning, he finally told me the story of why he hated my dad so much. He said, "Your dad wanted to buy my family's shop, but when we refused to sell it, he just burned it to the ground. Now my parents live in poverty all because of him." I'm so sorry. Well, the money drop is happening today. Once my buddy picks up the cash, he will call me and I can let you go. But Chris didn't get a call. Something's wrong. Yeah, I don't think my dad would pay money to get me back. He probably caught your buddy and is milking him for our location right now. Damn it! What should we do then? Look, my dad doesn't like parting with his money. If you really want it, you're gonna have to steal it from him. I brought Chris to a hidden escape tunnel that led into my dad's mansion. Let's rob him together, 50-50. Deal? I knew Dad was hiding money under the wood pilings in the living room. But right when I pulled it out, my dog found us and started barking like crazy. Shh, it's me, be quiet. Then someone came into the room. It was Dad. I knew it. You only pretended to be kidnapped to get my money. That's not true. You ungrateful little brat. You disgust me. Good, I never want to be like you. You are evil and do nothing but destroy. That's why no one loves you. Then Chris body slammed him, gagged him, and tied him to a chair so we could escape with our loot. All in all, we got $300,000 US. Chris gave his half to his family. I had other plans for mine and asked, "Want to run away with me and start a new life?" Instead of responding, he put his hand around my neck and pulled me in for a kiss. Afterward, we fled to a different country from where I called my mom. "Hey, how are you?" "I'm okay, but Dad is looking for you. He already knows what city you're in." "Oh no, I don't want to run all my life." "Okay, honey, don't worry. Let Mom handle this." A week later, she sent my dad's obituary. It said he died of alcohol poisoning. I was so relieved, even though my inheritance was paltry. Dad wasn't as rich as he looked. In fact, he was heavily in debt. But I don't care because now I have Chris.
My classmate Peter didn't fit in. He was weak, introverted, and poor, often wearing the same dirty shirt for days. But there was something about his eyes. They were sharp and clear. Even when his classmates beat him up and left his body covered in bruises, you could tell by his eyes that he wasn't hurt. He also didn't participate in class unless the teacher asked him to. Then he would stand up, give the correct answer, and sit down again. It was during summer break when I saw Peter lying on a field. I lied down next to him and asked how he was. He responded, "I'm great. It's just a beautiful day." And I stayed with him until sunset. "Don't you want to go home?" "I don't think my family wants me." "You can't stay here through the night. Why don't you come sleep at my home?" "Wow, thank you. That would be awesome." I brought him home, but my mom wasn't happy. She said, "Why did you bring this bum here? Look how dirty he is." Well, I made Peter take a shower and then I gave him my blanket so he could sleep on my floor. But by the next morning, he was already gone. I didn't see him again until school started, and right during the first break, the other boys wanted to beat him up. But I went in between and told them to stop. "Leave him alone. He might be different, but that doesn't allow you to hurt him." "Good luck defending him, little girl." The boy pushed me away so he could attack Peter, but that's when I started screaming as loud as I could. I wasn't hurt, but I pretended I was. When a teacher arrived, I said, "He smashed my head on the ground." "She's lying. Don't believe her." "Seems like we have to call your parents into school again." "But I didn't do anything." "So you want to tell me that this poor girl is lying?" The teacher took the boy by his ear and dragged him away. Peter said, "Thank you, but I don't mind if they beat me up." "Don't act silly. You need some friends to defend you. By the way, you want to come pick strawberries with me in the afternoon?" "I would love to do that." Well, after we had filled 2 baskets of strawberries, we sat down under a tree. It was the first time I realized that Peter was actually quite handsome. I said, "Why are you so different?" And he responded, "I don't know." But I liked how he was different, so I cuddled myself against his shoulder. I felt comfortable with him because I knew he didn't judge me. And when it got dark, I asked, "Can I give you a kiss?" He nodded, and for a few seconds, I felt complete. Afterward, we became best friends, often walking through the fields and talking about our futures. I was surprised when one day he told me he wanted to move to the big city. He said school bored him and I should follow him. I said, "We're only 15, and my parents would never allow that." "If they want the best for you, they will." I don't think my parents would understand. He didn't respond, but the next day in school his chair was empty, so I went to his home. His mother opened the door and looked completely drunk. She screamed, "What do you want?" Is Peter here?" "No, but if you show me where he is, I'm gonna give him a few slaps." Peter had run away and left me behind. I was lonely and often wondered if Peter and I would ever see each other again. I wasn't sure, but after I graduated high school, I moved to California to study law. It was different than what I had expected. I missed the beautiful fields and nature I had grown up with. And I also still thought about Peter. We had only been together for 6 months when we were 15, but he was the only guy I'd ever loved. Of course, I had other guys interested in me in college, but I found them shallow and boring. But to stop feeling lonely, I started dating Michael. He was extremely ambitious and worked all day, which meant I didn't have to talk to him much. We had been together for 2 years when Peter called me on my phone. He asked if he could meet me at a cafe, and of course I said yes. Suddenly my hopes were up again. Maybe we could get back together and be as happy as we were in high school. When I first saw him, it felt so right. I fell into his arms and hugged him for minutes. Of course he was, as always, blunt and not interested in small talk. We sat down and he explained why he'd come to visit me. He said, "I wanted to thank you for how you protected me back in school. Growing up, I had no one who loved or cared about me, except you. Therefore, I brought you a gift." He handed me a check that read $300,000. I said, "No, I don't want your money. I want to know how you are and what you're doing." "Well, I'm mostly working and I'm good at it. Money doesn't mean much for me, so I brought you the check hoping it would make your life a bit easier." "Are you happy?" I asked, and he looked away saying, "I'm fine." "Do you have a girlfriend?" "No, I don't." For a moment, I was the happiest girl in the world. I was sure he had come to get back with me, but why wasn't he asking me out? Maybe he was too shy, so I said, "Do you still like me?" "Of course." "And have you ever thought about us two getting back together?" "I have thought about it, but I know it wouldn't work out." My heart crumbled and I asked, "Why not?" "You know I love you, and you know I would do anything for you, but I need a girl who is as smart as me and understands me. If I was with you, I would always feel lonely and only drag you down." You can imagine how much his words hurt, even though he didn't mean it in a bad way. He was just as blunt as always. I said, "Well, I want you to be happy too," but I couldn't hold back my tears. "Don't cry. You'll find a guy that makes you happy." Well, I didn't want to burden Peter any further, so I smiled and said, "Of course, I will find the right guy someday," even though I knew it was a lie. At the end, he said, "Just take the check." Then he stood up and left. Today, I'm still with Michael. He recently started talking about getting kids. He doesn't seem to notice how unhappy I am with him. Don't get me wrong, he's a great guy who treats me well, so I will give my best to make him happy. I know he deserves it.
My ex-girlfriend Sophia was a psycho with too much